Today marks 1114-day sharing lessons I have learned and continue to learn with all of you. My hope is that these insights will inspire you to pursue your dreams, help you to reach your goals, and empower you to become the person that you aspire to be. Today I speak about assets. Beautiful topic. I think that assets sometimes is underrated, and I think that we know what assets are, and it's easy to understand. Assets are bringing you income, bringing you return, bringing you money. So sometimes it's very easy to understand what is asset in the finances. I think that we understand that car might be a liability if you use for your own reasons, or it could be asset if you're using for business. A house could be a liability if you're using for own your reasons, and of course you spend a lot of money on it, or it could be asset if you make money out of it. Business could be liability if you're losing money, if you're not able to execute. And business, we understand, could be a massive asset. Wealth is created through assets. Wealth is created for assets. That means if you do not have assets in your life, you will not be wealthy. So that means we always ask, what kind of assets do I have in my life? What kind of assets? And if you do not have any assets, and I think that 90% of people do not have assets, and they don't work very hard to bring assets. And I think that the most important key thing that we're supposed to do is that when we're working 9 to 5, when we have active income, that if we need to show up to work to make money, we need to work very hard to buy assets that generates income. And that's a lot of times we call it passive income. You build passive income and you're able to make money while you're sleeping. But it means we still need to earn money to buy those assets that we could really make that passive income. But today I don't want to speak about that. I don't want to really focus on that part. I really want to focus on other kind of assets. Other kind of assets that bring returns on your investment. On personal assets. I think that when you understand that those assets bring so much return on your investment, we're able to start focusing on that. And I really want to focus on 3 personal assets that we have that we need to make sure that doesn't become expense in our lives. So number 1 is really core personal foundations. What are the core personal foundations that where we able to find those assets internally? Personal foundations. So number 1, skill and knowledge could be an asset. This is a compound capital. Skills and knowledge is compound capital. Because skills and knowledge is compounding whatever you do. That means that if you are having a skill set, that means that every single time when you elevate the skill set, it compounds everything for you. It compounds your fulfillment, it compounds your income, it compounds the things that you do. Everything what you do when you have more knowledge and skills, it will compound. So that means that we want to make sure that our asset is appreciating. But what we need to do, if we want to appreciate that asset, we need to really invest our time and money and energy into developing those assets. And skill and knowledge is our asset. And the beautiful thing that you don't need anybody. The only thing that you need to have is your own desire to improve skill and knowledge. When you have that desire, you're able to improve that asset. And of course, you improve that asset because your choice, your responsibility, your ownership, you're able to get more returns on your investment. Second thing that is health as a foundation for energy source. I truly believe that energy is the most important key resource in life. Most people who do not pursue something because they just do not have energy. Or I just don't have motivation, I just don't have energy, I feel disgusting, I feel depressed. And a lot of times I think depression comes because just you do not have energy to pursue the things that is meaningful. And that's why Andrew Tate always says that if you feel depressed, go to gym. Don't feel motivated, go to gym. Feel disappointed, go to gym. You got divorced, go to gym. Because that giving energy gets you energy. So that means that you investing in your asset, and your asset is energy. The more energy you give, the more energy you get. So gym and of course nutrition, sleep, all those things are the things that we invest in our health, and our health is wealth. Our health is asset that could be an expense, and it could be a massive return on our investment. Third thing that I want to mention about the core foundation is values. And values is like a personal compass. I think that a lot of times when we do not have values, we feel stuck. And for me, the best example is like being in the forest. When you're in the forest, I don't know if you have been in the forest and you have lost in the forest. I have been with my dad, and my dad knows where he used to know a lot of how to really get to understand where you're at and really go to the right direction. But when I was feeling that I lost over the forest in the middle of the forest, and you look around and have no idea where to go. I think that's exactly how we feel in life. You're looking around and have no idea where to go, and you stand in the same spot because it seems that you have no idea where to go, and better stand in the spot. And I think that values are the compass that allows us, okay, I need to go to the south to get where I need to go. I need to go to the north or east or west. It doesn't matter where you need to go. So that means that those values are the compass where you need to go. I think that a lot of times we have a map of things that we need to do, but in the forest, when you're in the forest, the map doesn't help. You look into the map up around and it doesn't help. You still stand in a spot. So that means values are the best thing when you're totally stuck in the forest. The last thing that I want to mention as personal core foundation is resilience as a mental health, mental wealth. Resilience is a mental wealth. Is an asset. I always say that resilience could be built during good days and bad days. So what do you do during good day to develop resilience? That means that you do something that you hate to develop your resilience. It's an interesting thing that people say that, oh, you need resilience only during bad days. And you can only during bad days, it will show how resilient you are. But it's an interesting thing that when you have a good day and you are very, very resilient and you keep doing, even though there's a good day, that shows that you are very resilient. Because people who are resilient will have less bad days because they keep themselves in the loop of resiliency, and they, even during good days, they allow themselves to say, I still need to do the work. So they understand how important it is to be resilient even during good day. They don't give up on their goals, even though that they are very, 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 very comfortable where they are. I think that a lot of times people go in the bad days because probably you've heard that bad times create strong men. Strong men create good times, and good times create weak men. And exactly the same that with our own life, it could be that bad times create something great in us, and when we have great in us, we create great life, and that great life makes us complacent, and that complacent, of course, leads to bad times. So when you are resilient, you're able to do great things during bad times and during good times as well. Second part, besides core foundations, we need to focus on social and relationship wealth. This is very powerful. And I think that this is the most important wealth. That means that first core foundations is to develop second part, relationship wealth. Because I think that relationship is the key to success. So relationship is a social wealth. How much do you invest in nurturing your relationships? But the key people in your life. Not the strangers, of course, it's great to network and build that connection, acquaintances, and build that and nurture that. But how much time do you spend with the most core important people? I like what John C. Maxwell said. This is a beautiful saying. He said that I want to make sure that people that know me the most admire me the most. So what he means by that is that he invests the most to really build brand and reputation with the closest people. So that means a stranger might not like him because they just do not know who he truly is. But people who are closest, they're supposed to know exactly who you are, how present you're able to be, how giving and generous you're able to be with your energy, time, maybe other resources. Because sometimes we're able to give energy to strangers. We're able to give resources to other time and money to strangers, but we do not give as much energy to the most important people. Because we will not be rejected from the people. Maybe we're afraid of rejection of a stranger so that we give it all. But when we meet the most important people, we don't give it all. And that's just a massive, massive mistake. Like, I'm guilty of that as well. I'm not any different. And I needed to realize that maybe my energy allocation to the most important people is not as how it's supposed to be, because relational social wealth is important. And I think that when people see how you treat your family, how you treat the most important people, they will be inspired to do the same. Second thing that I want to mention is hobbies. And I think that the hobbies is as the engine of a flow and insights. Because hobbies are something that you're able to really create energy as well. Besides the health, hobbies could be something that you build relations with, because you have some people who do exactly the same thing. And hobbies could really be self-actualization. Have a vision of a obsession or a passion to really pursue something. And it's very meaningful. I think that it's very, very meaningful to have some kind of hobby or a passion in your life that you could develop. Because every single person is supposed to have some ritual, some things that really develops energy, develops things that really makes your life more joyful, blissful, and worth living. And hobbies are a great thing for that. And the last one, third thing that I mentioned, besides core foundations and social wealth, is sustainable growth and freedom. Sustainable growth and freedom. It's very important, because I think that we have a tendency to grow in spurts. We run for a month, then we slow down. We run for a month, slow down. We never get in momentum. But until we get in momentum, we never really achieve great things, because you know that even a small brick could stop a massive train from getting started. But when a train is on the go, when it's moving on in a momentum, that train, nothing will stop that train. Massive walls will not stop. And that's exactly the thing that is in growth. When you want to start growing yourself, it's very hard. Even a small brick could potentially stop us and even some kind of disadvantage. But when we start building momentum, and we almost there, we almost build that momentum, and sometimes we stop growing and stop building momentum, and then again fall into the zero again. And I think that we need to really look into how to develop. And we need to understand that the resources will be needed to be allocated well. So time is a strategic resource. Understanding, okay, what is my time budget? Where my time goes? Because a lot of times the biggest key part of time management is not adding something in your time, but subtracting all the things that is subtracting and throwing out of your plate the things that is doesn't adding value to you. As I said, time is asset as well. It could be becoming expensive if you have so many bad things there, but when you really look and use that time wisely, it becomes massively valuable thing in your life. Second thing that we need is financial literacy. And I think that's as control of your resources, because I think that financial literacy is more important than money itself. Because with financial literacy, you're able to make more money. But if someone gave you money and you don't have financial literacy, you will lose it. And that's with so many people who win lottery, they never able to sustain that. And I think that stats is 70 or 80% of lottery winners, after 10, 20 years, they are poor again, because they never had financial literacy. That is what is an asset. Money is not an asset. Financial literacy asset, that you're able to turn that money into actual asset, because asset is something that generates income. So money, if you put it the right way, it could generate money, like return. But if you just have it in a bag of money, of course, that is not an asset. And all that's liability, because because of inflation, you're actually losing money. Creative ideas, that is an asset as well. And this is like in an intellectual capital. That means that where our creative ideas is coming from. Are we adventurous enough? Because adventure isn't an asset, because we're able to really put so many different images in our head to really become much more creative. And that's why a lot of times having those hobbies, passions, and working with other people, relations, and hearing other perspectives, so allows to build your intellectual capital, those ideas, to really pursue things. Because the more creative ideas you have, the more able to execute on different things and get different results. Because if you want to have different result, you need to do a different action. Because you're not supposed to expect a different result by taking exactly the same action. And the last thing that I want to mention is wisdom. Wisdom is like a generation legacy. I think that Wisdom is something that you're able to leave behind. That reputation, personal brand, and wisdom is something that you're able to work on. And wisdom is a massive, 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 massive asset. Because when I think about wisdom, it is distilled knowledge, understanding what knowledge is actually useful for you. Because we don't need all information. We need just specific information that is helping you to move to your vision. And of course, other thing is like reflecting the experiences. That is wisdom. Like being able to really understand what kind of lessons did I learn from all the experience that I had in the past, and of course I will need in the future. And that really creates wisdom, and you act on that wisdom, and people are coming to you to ask for advice because they know that you are making wise decisions, and your wisdom becomes your asset because your decisions lead to really better results. So I hope that you reflect as well. What do you feel is the best? What do you think is the best asset in your life right now? Because I said it, asset could be a business, the things that generates income, but it might be that you have some assets that generates your personal benefits. Because if something brings you joy, fulfillment, content, those emotions that is very valuable, maybe relationships, those are assets as well. And I hope that you will start pursuing those assets even more, because assets bring wealth. Assets bring health. Assets bring the most important things in our life. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.